How's everybody doing today? Tinkering with Harleys. First, let me thank all of you who have subscribed. It's been great watching the numbers grow. Your comments are outstanding. Your questions are great. If you're watching these videos and you're enjoying them, please subscribe and hit the like button when you watch one of them, and tap that little bell. You'll be notified every time I put one up. Last video, we installed the inner primary on that bike that had the oil leak. And I said when I was done installing that, I was going to put the oil tank in and the quarter fender and the control panel on it, which I did. I didn't film it because there's nothing really to film. And unfortunately, because of the tight area, the only thing you'd really be seeing is my hands. And I do have to apologize for installing the starter because a lot of what you saw there was just by hand. But one thing I wanted to bring up, when you have your oil tank off, now on the older bikes, your drain tube on your oil tank looks like this. This is something you want to inspect when you have that oil tank off. Now, as you can see here, this one's kinked. Now, this oil tank's been off any number of times, but the one thing I found is up here on rubber, it's starting to dry and crack. So we needed to replace that. I don't know how good you can see it or if you can see the cracks, but this is something you definitely need to pay attention to. And if you find it's dried out or has cracks in it, replace it, because this is the last place you want to lose oil. If this breaks and you start to run oil out your drain hole, it's going to go all over your back tire. And you won't know it unless you have an oil pressure gauge or if the idiot light comes on. But more than likely, when you try to stop, you're going to have a whole lot of fun with an oil-covered back tire. So, today what we're going to be doing is we are going to install the clutch and compensator and continue on with getting this bike back together. So, all that aside, let's get to the video. Okay, here we are now. This is the inner primary that we put on in the last video, and we got everything laid out. The one thing that you want to do before you start doing this is you want to clean. This is for the compensator. This is the nut and sleeve that goes on the compensator. You want to clean this out really good. Get all the crud that's in there, all the old dried Loctite out of it. And you'd be surprised how much stuff gets stuck in there that needs to be cleaned out. And you also want to do the same with the clutch nut. You want to get that all cleaned out inside. Now, if you look at this nut, you can see it's got just some like marks here and here and here. That's because somebody used a 12-point socket on this to take this off. This actually takes 1 3/16 socket. And you want to use a 6-point socket, not only on this, but on the compensator also. 12 points have a tendency to damage nuts, and especially with the torque these are going on. The compensator goes on with between 150 and 165 pounds, and the clutch is, I believe, 60 to 70, but I got to check before I do that. So with all that being said, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start to get this installed. The first thing we're going to do is put the spacer in. That washer for the compensator. Then we're going to put this, because this is all splined. We'll get that on there like that. And now we're ready to install the compensator and clutch. Okay, now you might have to mess with this just a little bit. You slide this on there just like that. Then you take this and put it on there. Now, when you install this nut, you put 2 red drops of Loctite inside here. You don't need to go crazy with it. Because remember, the torque on this is real heavy. And this is right-hand thread. And we'll just get it in there hand tight for the moment. And then we'll do the clutch. And the same thing with the clutch nut. Couple of drops of red Loctite. Now, this one is left-hand thread. So to tighten it, you got to go to the right. Just like that. Then take your socket and just hand tighten it on there. Just like that. Now this gets torqued down, I believe it's 60 to 70 pounds. Now we're going to take and put our shoe on. And there's lock tabs on these, so that when you get them all tightened up, you got to peen them over. But this would also be the same way you change your shoe. But this shoe does not need to be changed because it's brand new. Again, if you've been following these, if you saw the video, the 2 videos I did on oil leaks, all this stuff's brand new. The compensator's new. The clutch is new. So all this stuff is brand new. The only thing they hadn't changed was the inner primary itself. So now we'll get this on here. And sometimes you got to pull it out a little bit so it locks in there. Yep, wrong size. Let me get the right socket. Oh, the camera shut off on me. Didn't have enough storage, so I had to take some of the videos that were in there out. Now we'll just tighten this up a little bit. And actually, we're going to put a little tension on it. Yep, different size socket. That's 1/2 inch, 7/16. I need a 9/16. Take some of the slack out of that. So we got the chain on going exactly the same way it came on. Isn't that right, Muggs? Muggs is here to help. Muggs likes working on motorcycles. Now we're gonna, when we get everything back together, we're gonna adjust this correctly. Right now, this is just to get a little bit of slack out of it. Okay, that's good enough. And then we're going to peen these over. So they don't come off. Just like that. There we go. And now they won't move. So we're good. Transmission's in gear. But that's okay. Now we're going to get the impact gun and we're going to crank this down. I'm going to turn the camera off while I get my compressor built up because nobody wants to listen to that. And we'll go from there. Okay, now we're all set. Now I just put my hole down in so the engine doesn't turn right here. And now we're gonna crank this thing down. Okay, now we'll put the torque wrench on it. And that should be about 160 pounds. Yep. That's 160. So the compensator's torqued down. So this gets torqued to between 70 and 80 pounds, so we'll split the difference. We'll do 75. Now we'll get this out of there. We got it rotated a little bit. There we go. And this is what I use to hold it, but you can use anything. I've seen guys use pieces of wood and stuff like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be this. This is just what I prefer to use. So now we'll get the clutch in neutral, or the transmission in neutral, and we'll spin this thing around and see how it does. Should have put the arm on here. Would have been a little bit easier. I think that's what we'll do. Bear with me a little bit. I'm going to put the arm on there so I can shift it. Okay, everything's running straight. We just wanted to make sure of that. Normally I would spin the back tire, but the back tire is not on here, so we have to do it this way. So now we're going to insert the adjuster. Now if you look right here on the adjuster, it says out. So what we're going to do, we're going to change the camera angle so you can see this go in. Okay, now we're going to insert this. Now, as you can see here, it says out. And there's two tabs on here. You slip them in those tabs, in those holes, and you just slide it in there like that. Then you take this retaining ring, and this goes in there like that. Try to keep my hand out of the way. And that's it. It's in there. And now you take a screwdriver and just check around. Make sure it's in there all the way. Now this is your adjuster. Okay, now when you adjust this, you just back it out, this one a half a turn, and then tighten the set screw. This is an 11/16. When you get done doing that, you leave a little play in your, you tighten your cable just a little bit and see if that moves. And if you can see, it's moving. So that means that the ball bearings and the ramp on the other side have seated. So we'll tighten the rest of this clutch cable up, and that'll do it. So now we have the clutch and primary on. We've got everything torqued down. We adjusted the clutch. We're going to adjust the clutch again after we get this all together. We're also going to tighten the primary chain up, but we have to get the rear wheel on next, so I can spin it and show you how to adjust the primary chain the right way. So that's going to do it for today. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something from it. And if you like this, please hit the thumbs up. And until next time, everybody be safe.